NotebookLM has over 50 million users right now, and based on everything I've researched, the majority of them are using it with default settings that limit what they actually get back. I found 7 settings buried inside the tool that most people either have wrong or don't know exist, and each one changes the quality of your results immediately. Most people know NotebookLM turns docs into podcasts, but there is a button that shows up after generation that almost nobody clicks, and it completely changes what that podcast can do for you. Once your audio overview finishes generating, you'll see a small interactive mode button right next to the play controls. When you click it, you can actually talk to the AI hosts in real time while they're discussing your sources. So if the hosts are going over a topic and they mention something you want to know more about, you can hit join, ask them to expand on it, and they will answer directly from your sources. I'll show you what this looks like. I have an audio overview generated on some research sources, and I'll hit play so the hosts start talking. Now I'll click join, and I'll ask them to explain one of the concepts they just mentioned in more detail. Can you explain that concept in more detail?
Absolutely, we would love to.
We can dive into that right now.
You're asking about that brand new technological shift.
Right, the new reality we mentioned.
That concept is the rise of what the Microsoft 2025 Work Trend Index calls the frontier firm.
And you can see that the hosts actually pause, address my question directly with information from my sources, and then continue the discussion from where they left off. This turns a regular podcast into a live tutoring session where you control the direction. Instead of passively listening and hoping they cover the thing you care about, you can steer the entire conversation toward whatever matters most to you. And the best part is that it works with any audio overview you've already generated, so you don't have to create a new one just to use this feature. Now, being able to control a conversation with AI hosts is great, but that only works if you can actually get all your files into the notebook in the first place. NotebookLM has a source limit on every notebook. On the free plan, that's 50 sources per notebook, and even on Plus, it caps out at 300. Once you hit that limit, you can't add anything new without removing something. But there's a workaround built right into the tool that lets you compress multiple sources into a single one, and it takes about 30 seconds. When you're chatting with the AI in the center panel and it gives you a response you want to keep, you'll see a Save to Note button at the bottom of that response. Click it, and NotebookLM saves that entire chat response as a note in the right panel. Once that note is saved, click the 3 dots next to it, and you'll see an option that says Convert to Source. When you click that, your note becomes an actual source that NotebookLM can reference in future conversations, just like any PDF or website you uploaded, which leads to a trick I really like to use. You can ask NotebookLM to summarize 5 or 10 of your existing sources into one detailed response. Save that response as a note, convert it to a source, and then remove the original 5 or 10 sources you just compressed. You've freed up source slots while keeping all the information. I'll show you how this works. I'll ask the AI to create a detailed synthesis of all my current sources, covering the main arguments, key data points, and areas of disagreement. Once it generates the response, I'll click Save to Note. Then in the right panel, I'll click the 3 dots on that note and hit Convert to Source. And just like that, I now have a single source that contains the compressed knowledge from everything that was in this notebook. I can keep adding new sources and repeating this process, which means your notebook can effectively hold way more information than the source limit allows. So you can stack more and more information into a single notebook by compressing, converting, and repeating. And speaking of having access to everything in one place, that brings me to the sponsor of this video. A huge thank you to Higgsfield for sponsoring this video. Higgsfield is by far the best platform for AI video creation because it puts every top model in one spot. Instead of juggling 5 different subscriptions, Higgsfield gives you access to all of them instantly so you can compare results side by side. They also have unique features like Cinema 2.0 that you cannot find anywhere else, which completely changes how you approach character consistency and control. Whether you are making content, ads, or just experimenting with AI video, Higgsfield makes the whole process way faster because everything is contained in a single dashboard. I have left a link to Higgsfield in the description below so you can check it out and try it yourself. Now, managing all that data is a great structural trick, but the next setting changes something you can actually see and share with other people. NotebookLM's video overview feature creates a narrated video presentation from your sources, complete with visuals and voiceover that explain your content. Instead of just leaving everything on default and accepting whatever the AI gives you, there is a custom option hidden in the visual style settings that lets you describe your own look, and the AI will design the entire video around it. When you click Video Overview in the Studio panel, you'll see a section for visual style. The default is set to auto select, which means NotebookLM picks from its preset library. If you click Custom instead, a text field opens up where you can write exactly what you want the video to look like. I'll generate 2 versions right now so you can see the difference. First, I'll do one with auto select and let NotebookLM pick the visual style on its own.
Do you feel like you get more done in your quiet home office? Or do you thrive on the buzz of being around your colleagues? For a while now, we've mostly been going on feelings and personal stories.
The one generated with auto select is fine. You get a standard layout and clean visuals, which technically gets the job done. Now I'll generate another one on the same content, but this time I'll click Custom and type dark navy background with gold accent colors, modern sans serif typography, sleek corporate aesthetic with subtle gradient transitions between slides.
And the answer reveals this massive disconnect between how employees feel and what their bosses actually believe. And this leads us to what a lot of experts are calling the productivity paradox.
The custom one, however, looks completely different. It's the same content and narration, but the visual presentation feels like it was designed by a professional, and all I did was describe the style I wanted in a few words. You can also choose between explainer for a full breakdown or brief for a quick summary, and you can add custom instructions telling the AI what to focus on in the narration, just like with audio overviews. This is a huge upgrade for video, but NotebookLM also has a hidden feature that gives you that exact same level of control over your slide decks. When you generate a slide deck inside NotebookLM's Studio panel, you will almost always find one or two slides that need a little tweaking. Instead of throwing the presentation away and starting over, there is a revise option on each individual slide that lets you rewrite what it looks like without touching the rest of the deck. So after NotebookLM generates your slides, click on any slide you want to change and you'll see a revise button. When you click it, a text field opens up where you can describe exactly what you want that slide to look like, and the AI will regenerate just that one slide based on your instructions. I'll generate a short slide deck right now to show you. I'll click on Slide Deck in the Studio panel and let it create something from my sources. Now that the deck is ready, I can see that most of the slides look good, but this third one doesn't quite match what I need. So I'll click on it and hit Revise, and I'll type, "Make this slide a visual comparison with two columns showing the pros and cons." And there it is. The AI regenerated that one slide with the layout I described, and every other slide in the deck stayed the same. This means you can fine-tune individual slides without losing the work on the rest of the deck, which saves a ton of time compared to regenerating everything from scratch or trying to build the whole presentation manually. That kind of control is a huge time saver for visuals. But the next setting completely changes how the AI actually responds to your questions. In the top right corner of the chat panel, there is a small icon that opens up the Configure Chat settings. Inside, you'll see a section to define your conversational goal, style, or role, where you can choose between default, learning guide, or custom. When you select learning guide, NotebookLM takes on the role of a tutor to actively guide you through the material. In this mode, the AI directly encourages participation by asking probing, open-ended follow-up questions that force you to think about what you just learned. It breaks complex topics into smaller steps and checks your understanding along the way, almost like a tutor who adapts to how well you are keeping up. I'll switch to Learning Guide right now, and it'll ask a question about my sources. Instead of just dumping a paragraph of information on me, watch how it explains the concept and then asks me a question to make sure I actually got it. And there it is. It gave me a clear explanation, then immediately followed up with a question that tests whether I understood the core idea before moving on. This is perfect for studying, learning new topics, or going through dense material where you need to actually retain the information instead of just skimming through summaries. And the setting stays active for that notebook until you change it, so every conversation in that notebook works this way. Now, Learning Guide changes how the AI talks to you, but the next setting changes where the AI looks for information in the first place. This one ties back to the audio overview feature we covered at the start, but it's a completely different setting that controls the structure of the podcast itself. When you click Audio Overview in the Studio panel, it is almost a reflex to just see the Generate button and click it immediately. But right above the instruction field, there are 4 distinct format cards laid out for you. It defaults to Deep Dive, but right next to it you'll see 3 completely different formats to try out. Brief is straightforward, it condenses everything into a shorter summary, which is great when you need a quick overview before a meeting. Critique is where it gets interesting. In this mode, the AI hosts actively look for weaknesses, gaps, and problems in your sources. This is incredibly useful if you're reviewing your own writing, a business plan, or research, where you need to know what's wrong before someone else points it out. I'll generate a critique right now on the same sources.
Right. The abrupt transition from hybrid work dynamics to AI integration in the final section leaves a significant thematic gap in the material. The structural weakness becomes immediately apparent the second the reader hits section 6.
The hosts are actually questioning the methodology and pointing out the weaknesses. And then there's debate. In this format, the 2 hosts take opposing sides on whatever your sources cover. If your topic has multiple perspectives, the hosts will argue each side, which gives you a much better understanding of the full picture than a summary that tries to be neutral about everything. These formats exist for a reason, and using the right one for the right task makes the audio overview dramatically more useful than just defaulting to Deep Dive every time. The last setting is one that most people will never find on their own, because it's hidden inside a dropdown that looks like it only does one thing. When you are in the chat panel and you look at the prompt box, on the bottom, you will see a small drop-down that says Web. While that is great for searching the internet, clicking that drop-down reveals a second option called Drive. When you switch it to Drive, NotebookLM connects directly to your Google Drive and lets you search for files without ever leaving the tool. You type what you're looking for, and it searches your drive for matching documents, spreadsheets, presentations, and anything else stored in there. Once it finds what you need, you can add those files directly as sources to your notebook with a single click. I'll switch this to Drive right now and search for a presentation I know I have saved. And there it is. NotebookLM found the file in my drive, and I can add it as a source immediately without opening Google Drive in another tab, downloading the file, and re-uploading it. This is a massive time saver if you keep your work in Google Drive, because the normal workflow of going to Drive, finding the file, downloading it, going back to NotebookLM, and uploading it takes way longer than it should. This dropdown cuts that entire process down to about 5 seconds. And when you combine this with the compression trick from earlier, you can build massive research notebooks without ever hitting the source limit. If you want to see more tools like this, I just posted a video breaking down the 14 best AI tools you should be using right now, and you can click right here to watch it. And if you are ready to start creating AI video content, do not forget to check out Higgsfield using the link below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.